Come on, Cam. There's no need to give me those baby blues like that. Be nice. Interesting photo this one. We've got Lodgy in a Roosters jersey, which is crazy. He's going to be pretty important to them in the next few weeks with, Tupanua going down. Butcher comes into that 12 role. See, Taka is out for a few weeks here with the fractured cheekbone. So he comes in that starting side, which is interesting. But very interesting how they organise this photo. We've got Adokar with a beautiful straight nose. You got Cammy's off to his left slightly. In this photo, and then same with Lodgy, the exact same noses. Do you reckon they actually organise that properly, or you just go like Adokar is a real dominating figure in this one, and go from there? Anyway, the things I'm looking at waiting to prep this video, but there you go. Round 19. So a few things going on here. Obviously, we've got the Eels v the Broncos there as a big important one this week. We've got some small changes. We see Corey Oates is back. We don't see Mr. Selwyn Cobbo. So Jordan Pereira keeps his spot, which is pretty interesting there. Ezra Mam, up to you whether you want to do with him. You can move him on. You can hold him because he has been scoring well. He's not someone that's going to be losing any cash anytime soon. The big one for the Eels is that Madison's back. So that's really, really important for anyone who owns him and has had him the last 2 weeks. Even captained him 2 weeks ago in round 17. So very frustrating there. I feel like at the moment, if you've got Reedy in your team, you're just holding steady. Dylan Brown's someone you could look to move on to a DCE, to a Cleary if you're looking something like that. Penasini must go if you still own him. Moses is a hold. Sean Lane's a hold. Papali'i definitely the same. So that's that on that side of the ball. The Broncos, we unfortunately see our favourite Zach Hosking move to the reserves after his cracking a bunch of games. But that was it made sense. Ricky was going to keep his spot most likely. He did. Cabewell was going to get his spot back. And we see Palacia maintain his spot on the interchange, which is interesting. But the minutes is going to be down for those guys because we've got Paddy Carrigan and also Payne Haas back. So if you hold on to Payne, he's back, hopefully back for the year. If you hold on to Adam Reynolds, hopefully another decent score coming his way. Pat Carrigan will still be a very solid pickup in my opinion because he's such a gun. Dragons v the Eagles in this one. So a few things to go through. Cody Ramsey, I think, is still a hold, but it could be a tougher assignment this week against the Eagles, who have been scoring pretty well. So definitely something to think about there with Ramsey. Do you play him this week? Do you bring in a Latrell or a Dewey or something like that and play them over Ramsey, or do you look to move him on this week? Benny Hunt, I wouldn't be looking at personally. And really anyone else in this side. Lomax is going to be up and down in his scoring. Moses Mbai comes in for Moses Sully. There you go. On the Manly side of the ball, Garrick, still a great keeper, is struggling a little bit with a hip pointer injury. He didn't kick for the majority of the game. Obviously kicked one at the end, but that was it. We have Kohler there. I think is a hold this week up against the Dragons. We saw how many points that Roosters put on last week against the Dragons, so hopefully the Manly boys could do that. DCA, I think, is a screaming buy if you're looking at him. Olukwatu, a decent buy also. We see Sipley go into 13 for Trbojevic, who will be out this week. Still very interesting to see Schuster being named on that bench constantly at the moment. So that's it at the moment. Jakey Trbojevic has COVID, for those that aren't sure on that one. Knights for the Roosters. Could be an interesting one again. I'm thinking there's going to be a fair few points in this one. I just want to quickly mention the Joey Manu situation. Obviously back in the 4 jersey in the centres and scores his best in number 6. So if you're thinking, or 1, if you're thinking of picking up him, just be aware that he will probably be in centres for the rest of the year unless there's injury to one of Teddy, Keary or Walker. And obviously that's 3 players. So there's a decent chance that one of them's out for COVID, out for a suspension, out for an injury. But just be aware that he doesn't score as well at centres, even if it's in a roving role. Very interesting to see what they would have done or could have done there. They could have had, Manu playing in that 6 role, Keary at 7, Walker at 7, play one of them off the bench. But it's very hard to do that, and I understand why. I definitely think if they're going to go this way, they need to have him in a roving role going forward. Momorowski gets his spot in the centres. I wouldn't be looking at him as an option. As I said, Lodge is back. Crichton, I think, it's very interesting. Butcher now is going to get his chance to play the 80 minutes for the rest of the year with Tupanua out, and we know how he scores on an edge. So if you're scared, if you're not scared enough to pop him back in your side, then you could go for that with Butch. Radley had a good game also, but he did score a try, so I wouldn't expect that every week. And I spoke about Verrills as a sneaky cheap option, but someone like Aaron Booth could do a similar job, obviously scoring a little bit less, but at a much cheaper price, I should say. Raiders v the Warriors. Interesting one on the Warriors side was Volkman's back. He did play Queensland. He played reserves on the weekend and did really well. So they said it was a virus, but he ended up playing. Weird. in the 21 jersey, and they haven't even picked Walsh at number 1 this week. So Walsh is in the interchange 14. Chanel's playing 1, and you see Dejan Arce come into the 6 role. So Volkman's really out of favour for some reason. I think he actually played solidly, and you would think that he's going to be, potentially one of their guys next year. So interesting to see that was the way they went with it. And the forwards are very much the same. So all definitely, Aiken, Harris, all in good positions there. Curran going to be averaging about 50 there as well. On the Raiders side of the ball, Savage, again, you've got another week or 2 out of him. I'd say if you want to, potentially when you get some extra trades after round 20, you could go for him. Adam Elliott now playing 13. I don't get it. Why does this change each and every week? It kills me. But Elliott in that big 13 role, I think, is much better than him playing an edge or him playing off the bench, whatever. Should be able to get a chance at big minutes. So keeping Elliott at a nice expensive price now. Panthers, everyone's back. So guys like To'o, guys like Cleary, and Isaiah Yeo are all good buys this week. Cleary, obviously, the best captaincy option. It's going to be a really fun game out in Penrith against the Sharks, for sure. Kennedy, still using him as that cash out. Raymond's obviously a great option, but I probably wouldn't look to pick him this week, even with that lower break even. Obviously, matchups is important, so that's that. We got Nico Hines off, still a great captaincy option if you have him. Even in this game, he's going to have to do a lot against the Penrith Panthers. And then looking down from there, McKinnon still a hold. A lot of people are looking to move him on, but I don't see it. Still hitting over 50 on the majority of weeks. So Rabbitohs v Storm. We see Latrell still being a great buy up against the Storm. We know that with Latrell, he can score well against any team. He can have some quiet ones against some weak teams. So I don't think that this matters too much for his scoring output. Isaiah Tass still there if you got him holding on steady. Cam Murray, a great buy this week. Damien Cook, also a great buy. Both been rested last week. Obviously, Murray with the head knock and Cook getting that week off. Unfortunate for everyone who picked him up, but still a great trade in, and great to see him named again. For the Storm, we see Meaney back in the 1 jersey. For Pap, we see Wishart come onto a wing. So interesting to see how long that's going to stay that way. Munster, great buy. Hughes, either a hold or a sell. He's going to be. Harry Grant, also a decent buy this week. Yeah, very interesting that Wishart on the wing there. Dogs v Titans. So Mr. Addo-Carr's still been named, so it looks like hopefully he's going to be okay, and if at worst it'll be a 1-week injury. We have some potential guys in the reserves. Aaron Schaub actually loses his spot, which is very interesting, and you got Dufty there also. But Declan Casey had a great game last week, and he's going to keep that spot with Braden Burns in the centres, Kraz named on the wing. So that's that this week. Burton obviously still a great buy if you don't own him. Going to be a nice high-scoring game, you would think, against the Titans, but they did have a lower one against Broncos last week, so may have turned a corner. Who knows? Brimson still scoring great. Tanner Boyd and Sexton worked well together last week. Aaron Booth, if you don't own him, probably a little bit too expensive now after his decent output last week. You could potentially look to play him if he's going to get 60 minutes and you're needing like a 35 plus from a guy. But if you have a really strong team, you wouldn't look to bother playing him. Dave Fafita is another interesting one, and I think he's an interesting buy if he can continue with the 80 minutes. And that's the biggest worry for him, is getting that 80 minutes going forward each and every week, which he doesn't get often. Aaron Clark moved to the 14 jersey with Tino back. So they went against playing Tino in the middle there at 8 or 10, and then having Aaron Clark as a starter playing big minutes. Hopefully he comes on early and can play a similar role to last week. Jaden Campbell in the 17 jersey. So be aware of what could happen with that during the week. But very interesting as to, they played pretty well last week, so they've kept the same team. And we know how talented Campbell is. Does he fit on the interchange, or does he need to be playing 80 minutes? Like, can you bring him on as an impact guy? They might have to, right? And we'll have to see what happens there. They could bring off Tanner Boyd or something like that if they want to in that one. Okay, Cowboys v Tigers, seem an interesting one. Hopefully a nice win by the Cowboys there. And guys, we're looking at here, obviously some returns from Gilbert. Gilbert played last week, but Nanai is a good one. Obviously, Tamalolo, I think, is still a hold. For a few people are looking to trade him on. Yeah, I can understand that, but he really should have scored that try and got 60-odd last week, so that's that. But Lucy Leilua gets a start in the 10 jersey. Very interesting for a guy that's played edge all his career to get a chance in the 10 jersey. Actually, right at the start, he played a little bit of bench prop, for example. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many minutes he gets and if he can really make an impact in that position. I'd rather him start this game and really go hard through the middle than be playing off the bench, if I'm being honest with you. You got a few impact guys on there already, and I think it's going to be an interesting one. I hope it works out well. And the Tigers have named the same team, so no changes there to their spine, which is ideal, I suppose. Pole's still on the interchange. Will make a little bit of cash for you. Luke Garner named to start again. and we don't see any Matamua. He's in the reserve. So pretty similar team to what actually ran out in the starting side last week. Offengawe still a good chance to score well. And that is all. We basically got Adam Dewey as a great option as well in this side. Very similar price to what Latrell is. A little bit cheaper, obviously, but yeah, definitely a solid one. But up against the Cowboys could be a tough one. But it looks like they'll play the exact same way as last week. Plenty of kicking meters, run meters for him, and doing his thing. But that is the team list video, guys. I hope you enjoyed that a lot. Please like, subscribe. I appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next few videos, guys. See you later.